Let me see what we need to.
All right, I think it's time to begin. Well, we're probably waiting for a few extra people. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Yes.
Yes, we can.
I was just making sure because I was having some trouble before. I've got like 2 live streams happening and it's a bit, my computer's struggling a bit. But we're going to YouTube and also on Facebook. Okay. Uh-oh. Is it? What the? Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so the live stream on Facebook is not working for some reason. Okay, then I will share this one.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll continue without. What the? Where's it coming from? Ah, it's here. Okay. Okay. Can everyone hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we're all good. So everyone for joining. Hope you all get your beers ready. We've got Bartek over there on camera from Pinta, and he's signed up to guide us through some awesome beers from Pinta. We got 6 at the moment. We're going to go through them. We're going to go through them. You know, probably don't drink all of the beers because the whole bottle. We tried that a few times, Martin, as you know, and it
works.
It works. It's a good evening, I guess you could say. But maybe save half the bottle for afterwards to kind of go back to the beers, that all of the beers, and relive them again. I guess we're going to start with the sours, move to the hazy IPAs, the West Coast IPAs, and then an espresso lager. I guess it's best for Bartek to kind of take over the show. What do you reckon?
Yep. Sure. No worries. Everyone's
Sure.
ready to start?
Cool. How many people have we got in here? I need to kind of see that. We got 11. Okay. I think we might be missing one or two, but it's 8 o'clock and we got beers to drink. So let's get on. I think probably the best way to start maybe is to have you introduce Pinta, Bartek, and yourself and all that.
Cool. So as you guys know, we are a brewery from Poland. We are actually first and at the moment biggest one in terms of craft breweries in Poland. We started back in 2011 as a contract brewery, and for about 8 years we've been contract brewing, still growing. So it was like at the end in 4 different breweries, which was pain in the ass, to be honest. So so we finally opened our own facility about 8-9 months ago, and we basically moved, let's say, 90% of the production to our brand new facility, and we built it from ground up. We bought a land, we've built a huge warehouse, so everything is custom made, and we are just starting to move the last beers from previous contract breweries to the new facility. Yeah, and at the beginning was just 3 guys, as you can see in a photo, those 3 at the top. So it's Grzesiek, Ziemek, and Marek. And they decided to brew a first ever IPA with American hops, which was quite weird back in 2011, but it turned out well. So at the moment, there's almost 30 of us in Pinta. So yeah, it grew quite a bit, I would say.
Well, what's your fill us in on what's your dailies? What are you up to in Pinta? And when did you join?
So I joined in 2018, right after I came back to Poland. And from Australia and from New Zealand. It was a bit of a trip. And at the moment, I'm taking care of our new project, which is Pinta Barrel Brewing. It's going to be a second brewery specialized in barrel-aged beer. So we got a fund from crowdfunding, and we are building the second facility. So I'm in charge of this, and also all the collaborations and European festivals and new recipes, all sort of stuff.
Cool. Actually, you reached out to me after I posted about maybe starting a brewery in Australia, or I had some crazy idea.
Yeah.
That was what, this time last year, or a bit earlier, a bit later than that?
Yeah, I think a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys were doing a tour of Denmark, really quick tour of Denmark.
Yeah.
And, brewed with Ale Farm, with Dry and Bitter,
and Tuol. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. They were all hazy IPAs, right?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like pale ale, IPA, and double IPA, and all of them we launched at the One More Beer Festival. So it was right before One More Beer Festival, I think.
And for those that don't know, that's one of the bigger or the more like world-class Polish beer festivals, right?
Yes, I would say. I mean, it's more like MBCC style. We've got 2 festivals like this in Poland, and all the rest is old-fashioned buy ticket, buy beer festivals. But yeah, through last two editions, we kind of grew quite a bit, and yeah, it's really like premium kind of one.
Cool. Should we get some beers down us?
Yep, sure. So let's start with this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Mine. I was a bit excited, so got mine here.
So this is Kwaskzy, and it's a Katarina sour style. It was actually one of the first beers that that sort of I co-made in Pinta. And the thing with this one is that when I was in Brazil, it turned out that most of the breweries in Catarina state, they're brewing this style, and they really wanted to make it official as a style, as Catarina sour style. It's basically a mix of Pilsen and wheat malt, and then kettle soured with Delbrueki bacteria, and then the normal fermentation is on US 05, which is a pretty clean standard strain. And then you add lots and lots of tropical fruits. In this case, it's a passion fruit, and the addition is around 15-18% of the beer, which is quite a lot. So it's designed to be super drinkable, quite sour, super fruity. And since we brewed it first time like a year and a half ago, it's been non-stop brewed sour. It's basically our base sour at the moment.
And so Katarina sour, that's the style. So it's not about the fruits or anything, right? It could be any fruit. Is that correct? Okay.
I think they announced it like last year.
All right.
It's been granted an official style in VJCP. And yeah, it's like it's a bit like Florida Weiss from US, or a bit like an Imperial Berliner Weiss with exotic fruits. So in Brazil you can find really weird fruits in it, like I can't even remember the names. But yeah, here in Poland, probably the most exotic one is like passion fruit and mango.
Yeah, but didn't I don't know if you went, but didn't some of you go to Brazil? Is that correct, or did you already mention?
Yep. Yeah. I was in Brazil, and also the guys from Pinta a few years back went there to brew a Baltic porter.
All right, cool.
So we have this project where we go around the world and brew Baltic porters. So they went there. I'm not sure, it was probably like 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and they brew the column there. Yep.
Cool. It's a really nice beer. Just, but I'm a huge fan of passion fruit, and I think that's you just see all that fruit pulp in there. It's awesome.
Yeah. So we put around, I think, 7 barrels, and each one of them is 200 kilograms, so like 1.4 ton of passion fruit. So
wow,
quite a bit, yeah.
And you guys, like you said, you're brewing it at least once a month, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, I would say like once every 6 weeks, probably at the moment. And this line of beers, the Kwaskzy and the next one, Kwaskgamma, we still keep it in one of our contract breweries.
Oh yeah.
Because we've got like sour tanks there, and we didn't want to introduce sour beers to our new brewery from the beginning. So we are working on it now, and we're probably gonna brew a first batch of this one in our new facility in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
Can I ask a question?
What is if anyone wants to chime in?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. What does class mean?
Oh yeah, good question.
Kwas. So it's basically sour in Polish. And we name it, so every beer we name after Greek alphabet. So we started from Kwas Alpha, and that was Beta, and now it's like Gamma and X, Y, etc. I believe we've got like 8 or 9 more, and the line will be over.
Okay. That's nice. And the Kwas Beta, isn't that's a dark one, isn't it?
Beta?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's the one that you guys barrel aged as well.
Oh no, it was Peta. Yeah, Peta.
Yeah, that's Theta.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's
yeah.
not Beta. Yeah,
That's a quite crazy one. It's like a imperial stout, sour imperial stout with addition of sour cherries. And the second batch of it we barrel aged. Yep. We even released a very special edition, just like 4 or 5 kegs barrel aged in Lafroig barrels. So that was like.
It's funny because like the Lafroig barrels, I think they're like all over Poland, right? There was at least last year before, everyone's got a Lafroig barrel almost.
Yeah, I think it's only us who didn't really buy them. I had like 2 bars, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's put it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite popular in Poland.
Cool. I really like the Lafroig barrels are, they can be super overwhelming, but I think that's probably the point, right?
Yeah.
Burn yourself. No, that's cool. I finally got.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Ah, nice. Well, this is a very nice sound.
You like it?
Yeah, we just want to check in and say it's very nice.
Awesome.
We have been, I don't know how many of you people are from Denmark
I think most
or
of
living in Denmark.
Hello?
Yeah, we are out now, or you can still hear us.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. I think there's
Yeah, okay. Okay, we just put it off Chromecast, so now we are on the computer, so maybe we go straight through at this point. Well, we are from Denmark. I think everyone is living in Denmark in this tasting, right?
That's correct, except for Bartek.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
We have been in this big Danish beer tasting. Beer tasting. If you live in Denmark, you probably have heard of it. We were part of that one, and then we joined this one afterwards. And most of those beers were kind of, I won't say mainstream, but it was like IPA stuff, most of it, and some box and double box. So it's nice to get some sours, kind of mix it up.
This is a really interesting sour compared to the other things that we tried not yesterday, but earlier today.
Did you guys have any sounds at all? Nothing.
Mm-hmm. No.
Straight in. What do you think of the passion fruit there? Bartek was just saying there's a hell of a lot of it in there.
Oh, but it's amazing. You can really taste the passion fruit, the sourness.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the interesting thing with this one is also that we do kettle sour, but it's the technique is that we kettle sour it, and then we don't have to boil it. We just put it into fermenter, so we can let the sour fermentation go for a bit longer than just 24 hours. And then we kill the fermentation with hops, and then we add fruits. So it really gives this nice and clean sour fermentation. So there's no aromas of like sulfur or anything, since we got a lot of time to do sour fermentation.
Well, I really like it. It seems like after tasting 12 beer and that other virtual beer tasting, which were all of those nice beers, but none of this was sour, so it's pretty nice to get this kind of style, I would say.
Well, there's another one coming up, another in the Kvass line, which is also one that I really enjoy. I guess we'll probably have to move on to it now. What do you reckon, Bartek?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are. So
Yeah,
Just
we've got a tight schedule. So yeah, as I advised before, maybe don't drink the whole bottle in the 15 minutes we have allocated. But
just a quick question.
Yep.
What kind of hops did you put in this Katarina sour?
to be honest, hops are quite irrelevant, but but in this one we put. I'm pretty sure it was like Columbus, and that's it. But it was just like a handful
so why put the hops in then?
to kill the fermentation.
Yeah.
The acid fermentation. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right,
Cool.
thanks.
Next, let me find the screen a moment. There we go. Moved on. Kvass Gamma.
Yep. So that's probably a second bestseller. So first one is Kvass, and this is the second one.
Cool.
And the technique and everything is quite similar. Also, the grain bill and the irrelevant hops and the fermentation technique it's pretty much the same. So the difference is that we put raspberries, not passion fruit.
So is this essentially a Katarina sour then as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that way because Katarina sour is you need to use a tropical fruit, and raspberry is not really tropical. Might be for Brazilians, not for us.
Yeah.
And it's also a little bit too high in both Plato and alcohol. Shouldn't be that high.
Okay.
So the differences are, very very small. But yeah, I wouldn't call it Katarina sour.
Okay.
So with this one, we've experimented with adding like a raspberry puree, raspberry juice, both puree and juice, and we ended up with adding just juice, and that's like probably the best effect for us.
Men jag vill.
Na zdrowie. Skål.
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
So we have our fellow Polish man, Martin, as well. Also part of the Eastern Craft crew. Yeah. So just introduction. But no, I love the smell.
Yeah, we are lucky enough to get really nice raspberries in Poland, same as cherries, for example. Even all the breweries which are producing lambic beers in Belgium, they're sourcing fruits like cherries for Creek or raspberries in Poland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we are lucky enough to have it really, really close to us.
What's how many? Oh, so it's just the juice, right? That you're adding instead of the.
It's the juice. Yeah, we've had some technical difficulties with purees or raw fruits, so we just use a high quality juice.
Okay, that's cool. And yeah. I'm trying to think. Like this one's also one that's brewed quite often as well, right? I've seen it popping up on the newsletter. Like,
Yeah, this is like let's say for every 2 batches of Kvaskse, there's 1 of Kvasgamma.
Okay, that's cool.
Can I ask a question?
Do it.
Do it? Yeah. So I've lived in Belgium for many years. I'm from southern Holland, so I'm a traditional brew guy. And when I drink this beer, I'm really curious to know. This one is very close to also the Belgian style sours. And I've always thought when I drank those, okay, so where is the limit when you go from beer towards the soda style? Where is your limit in terms of sweetness and the addition of the hops to get a proper like beer flavor into the beer? Where do you get that balance? How do you decide this is more of a beer or more of a soda?
To be honest, I guess there's no limit these days. It tends to be more and more extreme. I wouldn't call this one extreme. So the beer is just base. So we still use malts and hops and yeast. So technically, it is a beer. But then you do really, really huge fruit addition, and for like beers from Belgium, they say that it's something in between beer, wine, and cider.
Yeah.
So they just call it beer, but it's like a hybrid. So I guess yes, the more fruits you put, the closer it is to soda or carbonated juice or however you call it. But I guess the difference is that malts are giving you a very nice base to carry on the fruits. So I bet that if someone would put you the same ratio of fruits to water, but there will be no malts, then it will be completely different.
Yeah. And I really like it because I assume, is this made as a summer beer?
It was the plan, but now we are making through the whole year.
Through the whole year. Because I really like this one. This is, to me, this is a hot temperature type of beer. It's an easy drink and it's refreshing, whereas most of the beers I usually just get thirsty from them.
Yeah. But talking about the limits, we are launching a new line of beers in cans called Pinta Deli Store. So this is gonna be like really, really extreme in terms of fruits. So we put more than this one. This one is like 15% addition. In Deli Store, we put 20% plus of fruits, and then we also use lots of lactose, which is unfermented sugars, and vanilla. So it's like sweet and sour and fruity, and it's kind of really, really extreme. I guess the amount of fruits that we put for the last batch was just crazy.
What's that one going to be? Can you share that, or is that a secret?
No. We are canning it on Tuesday, so it's not a secret anymore. So it's the base is 20 Plato, which is high or even very high, and 4 Plato is from lactose, which is also really high, and it has only 5.6 ABV, which is low.
Yeah.
And then we put a banana, mango, passion fruit, pineapple, and vanilla.
Is it also because of like I've just noticed recently that pastry sour is kind of exploding in Poland?
Yeah, it is pastry sour. Yep.
Yeah. That seems to be the thing. I know Funky Fluid just did that gelato one.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean, it's completely extreme. Like I said, the amount of fruits is just it's like drinking melted candies or something. So it's extreme. Our one is I wouldn't say that it's as extreme as theirs.
Yeah.
But it's also quite crazy. Yeah.
Nice. I missed out on getting some cans of the first one they did, which looked awesome. But next week I get some in of the pineapple and passion fruit. I think that's the latest one they did.
Yeah, pineapple passion. Yeah. Pineapple.
I look forward to trying that one. Super excited. And then also the deli stores, of course.
Yeah.
Some of that
I think the deli store will be probably we're gonna maybe launch 2 each month.
Cool.
So yeah, it's gonna be like a quite.
You've got two coming up. This one?
We've got one coming up on Tuesday, and we are brewing 2 new batches the day after. So they will be ready in about 4 weeks or so.
All right. So is that how long it takes to do the pastry sour?
Yeah, it's more or less the same for most of the beers except like imperial stouts or something like this.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Very nice. What's happened here? I've just been all these technical difficulties with these live streams. It's hard balancing all of them, but seems to be coming through. It looks like the one I just put on is paused. Anyway, looking again. Technology these days, right? It was an experiment for me to do all these different streaming. Normally, I'd done 3 before, so they were just about 8 of us drinking some beers together and testing it out. But I never tried to stream it, and it's a bit more complex to stream the meeting. It's quite interesting.
Don't worry, we had like 3 days of trials.
Yeah.
Before we launched it yesterday. So
yeah, you guys had a
for me,
yesterday,
so
right?
I'm happy. It works.
It works. Excellent. You guys had a massive one yesterday, right, Bartek?
Yeah, it was first one for us. But yeah, it turned out to be quite big. It was like 200 or so people watching and 500 or so comments. So yeah, we had to just stop after 2 hours or a little less because it was just too much of it. It's just we need to change the formula a bit next time.
Yeah. How many beers did you get through?
I think I finished 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like one too much.
Okay.
Well, we've got 6
this one,
today.
2. We'll see. What do you reckon? How's everyone going with this one then?
Going fast.
Yeah, give it 30
just
seconds.
pure juice, to be honest. But I was also thinking about the fact that generally in Poland there's this tendency for sweeter beers. So I think in Denmark it's a harder sell for somebody to try a beer like this. And for example, in Poland, I think sours or like generally sweeter stouts and all of that, it has much bigger audience.
Yeah, in Poland it is quite big. I mean, there's still a market for like a dry hoppy pilsners or even West Coast IPAs. I think they're coming back. But yeah, the market for like pastry stouts and pastry sours now is just booming. It's huge.
Why is that, do you reckon? People, and
honestly, I have no idea. If people wouldn't love it, I wouldn't make it. I'm not a big fan of it. I honestly prefer a good clean pilsner, but what can you do?
That seems to be the way. I think those that have been drinking craft beer for 5-10 years or whatever, even more. There's kind of like that tendency to really want a good clean pilsner. At least I definitely feel it now.
I mean, man, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when I was reading like interviews with brewers and they were asking them like, which one is your favorite beer? And then brewer answered a pilsner. I was like, shit, man, really? And now it's like, yeah, I would have a pilsner.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
All right. we move on to the next one then?
Cool. Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
So we are moving to cans.
Yeah.
I guess we should start with Zagreb.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yep.
Zagreb?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Can we just ask a question?
Yeah.
Of course you can.
Zagreb.
We wasn't listening all the way through. But if we have been around in Europe and we don't see Polish beers so much around other than Denmark. If you had to point of another market than Denmark, what would be the biggest in Europe, other than Denmark, of course?
So I think that you don't really see our beers abroad because 90% of our production is sold in Poland. So the beer market in Poland is, maybe it's not that big in volume, but people are really drinking Polish beer. So imported ones are not that popular, and they like twice as expensive for the same style and same beer. So we didn't really have to sell anything abroad till like last year or so. That's one point. And second point is that if you don't have your own facility, your own brewery, it's not that easy to sell beer to different countries. So once you got your own brewery, it's a whole lot easier. So we started to export beers on a more scale, like maybe 6-9 months ago. And putting the beer in cans was a way to get export piece.
Yeah.
And before the virus, this part of our sale was growing the fastest. So export was growing like 200-300%. So you would see more of it if there wouldn't be a virus. So it's coming. It's coming.
But you guys export to, I see quite a lot of people posting from the Netherlands. It seems to be a lot of Polish craft there at the moment, right?
Yeah, it changed a lot. So now we are like exported to probably 20 different countries, and there's more and more, and people are coming back. So there's a lot in Norway, a lot in Holland, Spain, Germany, all our neighbors like Czech Republic and stuff. Yeah, there was a plan to send to UK and USA. So yeah, it's getting big. It's just we need a little bit more time, I guess.
Yeah, and especially now with this hiccup, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you're hanging in there. I need to get my can. You pour up.
Cool.
All right, while he's gone, I got a next question for you. What is Pinta?
It basically doesn't mean anything in Polish. I guess it's just a word made from a pint, and it's like polished a bit. That's it. So so Hazy Disco Zagreb. So that's our collab line. We always make it with some brewery from abroad. This one is made with our friends from Croatia, Zmajska Pivovara. And the idea behind this line is that we make a hazy IPA full of hops. And as with previous beers, there was an extreme amount of fruits. There's an extreme amount of hops. And hop rate for this one is 23 grams of hops per liter, which is like a lot. And we always try to change. We made like 9 beers in this line, and we always try to change both malt bill, and hops, and maybe even yeast. So we are trying to make every beer different. So with this one, we had an idea to use some experimental hops, some new hops, and also the malt bill was quite interesting. So we've used lots of oats from Simpson's maltery. They called golden naked oats. That's why you can see a little bit darker color. They're kind of like caramelized oats. They give this really nice body and like a nuttiness, a touch of nuttiness. And in terms of, we also used liquid yeast from special for hazy discos.
Sorry, are we having a new beer right now? Or,
Yes.
Sorry.
This one.
Okay, thank you.
It look like this. Both of us.
We still have a Quasgama on the screen.
You got a original one, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the original.
Yeah. That's the original.
Oh, okay, perfect. But Quasgama is on the screen. The raspberry sour.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. That's my screen. This one.
Yeah, thank you. Just
You guys-
clear what we are doing.
Did you get the one maybe from Tap House? That says yeah.
I might have like given you original instead of one of them by mistake, but you should have two different ones.
So now you can try an original as well.
Very nice. Thank you.
Why you guys don't have the labels on it?
So we did something interesting. So I had actually ordered a few kegs before the Corona thing, and we got the beers in. And I've got a canning machine, and I've been lending that to a bar called Tap House, and they helped me out by, like, as a favor for lending the machine. They took the kegs, and then so pickup of the beers for this event. They were tapping them for us, putting them in the cans, and then people were picking them up and bringing them across here.
Right.
So it's
Actually, I was
actually, we got it on
speculating.
draft.
Do you think what's the difference between this batch with the ones that got canned and the ones that came from the kegs? Have you tried them both, or?
Yeah. I mean, there's no difference. There was only one batch, and they're both like same process, same pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's just gone into different vessels, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And did the guys from what are they called?
Zmajska, yep.
Did they come over?
Yeah, sure. It was right before the madness happened, so it was maybe like a week before. I think they even got first cases in Croatia, but they came over anyway. The borders were still open. So that was our last call up, like in person.
In person. Oh, so the next two were not in person? The ones that were just...
No, I mean the next one. So we made the Petersburg one. The next one was it was really close to make it in person, but the guys from Russia, they at the end they decided that they will not fly to Poland because it was starting to get more and more crazy.
Yeah.
They were thinking about coming down by car, which is like 30+ hours drive.
Whoa.
But they had a spikes on their tires.
Okay.
And it's not allowed in Poland.
Okay.
So at the end, they didn't come over. Yeah.
Oh shit. And yeah, and also like with the canning machine, don't worry, we got them canned fresh, so they're still.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully it's not oxidized.
I saw your face.
Yeah. You know, I never trust that kind of things, but yeah, I understand. It's
yeah, they were. I think they were purging them as well, and then they're a pretty a very well respected pub, so they
as long as they're fresh, it's fine.
It's tasting good. tell you that much.
Yeah. So
I got another question on the beer.
yeah.
We already said we're the two that are
Yeah.
sitting on the couch here looking into nothing. We're not big IPA fans per se, so we said we're going to sign up for this as sort of an experience. So you just mentioned that there are a shitload of hops in this beer.
Yeah.
The reason why we're not a big fan of IPA is the extreme fruity and then the extreme bitter. But how come with the large amount of hops that this beer doesn't have that extreme? Because this is actually a really pleasant drink. It doesn't have the extreme bitter.
Yeah. So the first thing is the hop varieties. So as I mentioned, we decided to go quite experimental with the hops, and we used Sabro hops and also HBC 472 from US, which is not even called yet. It's just numbers at the moment. And both of them have very distinct aromas of coconut and vanilla, and also a little bit maybe of like lime zesty thing at the back. So first one is hops, and the second one is that we moved 95% of the hops from hot side to cold side, which means that we do almost no hopping for bitterness. We just do hopping for taste and aroma, for the flavor. So it's just a tiny bit amount of hops to put in the kettle, and all the rest is put during or after the fermentation, which if you separate it right, it won't give you almost no bitterness.
So is it then technically an IPA? Because weren't the hops for preservation?
Yeah, I mean, technically it's also a new style. It's called New England IPA, and it means that it's supposed to be hazy. It's supposed to be juicy, thick, but it shouldn't have any distinct bitterness. So you use exactly the same ingredients as with the normal IPA. You just use it in different times.
And the one, I had a friend of mine that commented about, he's actually in the video, he's hiding, he's in the meeting. He reckoned it tastes quite a bit like pina colada. And at first I was like, what? That doesn't taste like pina colada. And then I tried it again, I was like, actually, you're right. Damn.
Yeah, that's the Sabro hop is probably one of my like best hops for 2019 harvest. It's really interesting. Like the previous year wasn't that good, but 2019 is just it's crazy good. It's really good. I think we're gonna use it again for sure.
This is like the coconut is super there. Like,
Yeah. I think the coconut is also from this experimental hop.
Okay. Yeah.
It's probably like, I'm guessing it's probably like a same breeding program. It's probably like a sister or brother of Sabro or something like this. And as descriptors, when I was getting this hop, it was said that it has a taste of like a barrel-aged beer. And I was like, a hop with the taste of barrel-aged beer. Like, how can it be like, But it is something there. It's something like this. So
yeah, is that what, like, because a bourbon barrel, doesn't that give you that kind of vanilla coconut sometimes?
Yeah,
it's there. It's cool. Actually, like when Gollum, Browar Gollum, when they did the Ovitz bourbon barrel aged, that kind of, it's got that kind of IPA. It's not exactly the same, obviously. That wasn't so hazy, but I guess it was, but not this hazy. But it's got that same kind of coconut stuff, vanilla that they got from the barrels that you got from the hops, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And this one is not as expensive as a triple IPA barrel.
It's still like, for this amount of hops, I guess it's too cheap. It's just
Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah, as you said, 23 grams per liter. That's a lot.
That's almost a record for us. The next one is a record.
Okay, and you can taste that definitely.
Yeah. And it's also for us when we were contract brewing, it was just not possible to put that amount of hops, mainly due to technical reasons.
Yeah.
But now in a new facility, we've got everything, sorted. So I guess we can go even a little bit more, a little bit higher with hop rate. It's just a question if it's worth it or not.
Yeah. Because isn't there supposed to be some limit where you can't really taste the difference? Essentially.
Yeah, I think the most hoppy beers in terms of hop rate I've ever had was like 40 something grams from Cloudwater.
What?
And I was like, that's like maybe a bit too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
What do you reckon, Stefan?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you say 40 grams, is that somehow translated to the IBU level that you measure bitterness in, or?
No one knows.
Oh.
I mean, they still trying to. They do a lot of research and stuff, and if you would ask me 2 years ago, I would say that the only bitterness comes from the hot side, and that's it. And now they're like sort of trying to change it, that you can probably get some IBUs from dry hopping, but they're not sure how much. So if you would put that amount of hops on hot side, that would be like way over 1,000 IBU.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Can I ask you something as well? Like, I'm just curious because you have this original Hazy Disco, and then you make the collaboration. So, like, what's usually the process that you go through when you collaborate? Like, who decides on the hops, or like, how does that process go for you? Because I'm very curious, since the base is already like established, right?
Yeah. So we started the line about a year ago, when the kind of hazy IPAs starting to boom in Poland. We went to Manchester and we went to visit Cloudwater, Northern Monk, North Brewing, Buxton, and Magic Rock. So we did like a tour. We met the brewers. We've seen the breweries. We tried the beer, and then we came back and sort of put it all together. Made the recipe, and we made the first hazy disco in one of our contract breweries. It was before we opened our facility. It wasn't the best. It was different. It wasn't the best, but that's how it started. And then once we opened, yep.
I just remember people on Yepivka always were pointing out, they were complaining about the yeast strain.
Yeast, yeah, I know, yeah. But at that time, it was not possible for us to get different yeast. It was just too much of a hassle to get that amount of liquid yeast. It was just not possible. But we decided, after, I would say, a success of first hazy disco, we decided that once we open our own brewery on our own terms and we've got 100% control over the process, we should probably carry on with the line. So it wasn't a plan to make it a line, but then we thought that it might be a good idea. And we also decided that we're gonna expand on collabs a lot. So we were like, yeah, if we want to make more collabs, and if we've got a nice name and stuff, and can and the popular style, then maybe we should just make a different IPA with different breweries from different countries. Why not? And then we came up with the idea to put. So as you can see on the label, every label is like a site from a city. So from Zagreb, you've got like a place where the guys from Croatia told us that everyone will know that it's Zagreb. And then the process of making a recipe with the collab brewery is, we just start on emails, and we just start from the basics. Like, we establish the Plato, the ABV, and then we just go from there. And we are trying to. So for me, the goal is always to learn as much as we can. So collabs for the brewers, it's like it's like going to university. It's just every brewery has different techniques, different like amount of hops, different temperatures, etc. So we are trying to make it best from both sides, and it's also a good way to try something different. It's always a good way because you know that it's going to be probably one-off, so you can go above and beyond with hop rate, etc. So yeah, we just thrown an idea, and with this one was like we were at the stage where we had the mold bill and the Plato and ABV, etc., and it was time to discuss the hops. And it was almost at the same time that me and Nenad sent an email like maybe use something coconutty like Sabro, and I was like, perfect.
Done.
Yeah.
You guys also did another collab with these guys, right?
Yeah, we did a collab in Croatia
Yeah.
in 2018, I think. It was also a New England IPA. It was also like the biggest hop rate for them at that time. So yeah.
Wasn't that called Dragon's Pint or something?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was in a small bottle, 330.
Hey, that's the funny thing is in Denmark you can't sell a 500 ml bottle, but you can sell a 500 ml can. I don't understand it.
Can is always better.
Yeah. Pinta can, right?
Yep.
I really love this beer. I think it's. I'm not normally a fan of coconut, to be honest, but this has just got the right aspects of coconut for me, at least. The fruitiness I like. For some reason, I hate flaked coconut. I can't deal with that. Don't put. I won't be having any beer with flaked coconut in it.
We did the previous one in the series was Hazy Disco Athens.
Oh yeah.
And it was a funny story with the whole collab thing and recipe. So apparently in Greece they got some kind of Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah.
It's like a purity law for making beer. So they can't put anything else than water, yeast, malts, and hops. So they can't put any adjuncts, any fruits, nothing. It's just 4 ingredients. That's it.
Wow.
So yeah, I was so surprised. Even Germans don't have it. So
Yeah.
weird. But apparently the craft beer market is at the very, very beginning in Greece.
Yeah.
So we came out, like Antonis was saying, like, man, I don't know, like, we cannot do anything. And I was like, okay, so let's do it in Poland and let's put everything there.
Yeah.
So we made a hazy IPA with passion fruit, with apricot, coconut, vanilla, and shitloads of hops.
Yeah.
So we basically put everything. But to be honest, there's more coconut in this one than in that one where we used actual coconut. So
yeah, I had. I think I got a keg of that. It was at Blue Raven. It's a bar here. When I had this, there was a beer festival a couple of months ago, just before shit hit the fan, and we had like a little after party there, and I had some Pinta on, and we had the Athens. Really nice, more like a milkshake IPA, right?
Yeah, true. There was a bit of a lactose too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I had that kind of sweet, obviously from the fruits as well. Hey.
Yeah, and also from the vanilla, it always gives you a little bit of this, perceived sweetness.
Oh yeah. That's cool. What do you reckon? Should we move on to the next beast? Or what is everyone else's thoughts? We haven't heard from the beer bloggers for this one yet. Hello, beer bloggers?
So, sorry, can we just ask one thing again?
Do it.
Okay, so we just want to clarify a thing we asked before. What we were trying to say before is that we have noticed that Polish beer are quite popular in Denmark, but not really that popular in the rest of Western Europe. And is there a reason why it's more popular in Denmark, say, instead of England or France or something like that?
I think Mark is in Denmark. No, guys. Honestly, I think it's gonna change. It's gonna change. We are working on it really hard. So there will be more and more of it in Western Europe. It's just times are not particularly good for export now. But don't worry. I think a few months from now, yeah, it's gonna be there. Like our calendar for 2020 before the virus was, we had every single weekend till the end of June booked with the events in Europe. So we had a huge tour, and we had top takeovers, meet the brewer, the festivals, etc. We had everything planned. So it was already in motion. It's just we just had to pause it.
I think also that there's probably no one's really thought of Poland as a craft beer country, even though there has been so much going on in Poland craft beer wise. It's all kind of been caught up in itself for a long time, and it's only from people that have actually gone there and been like, "Wow, what the hell? This is actually really great stuff." I mean, that's how my project started. Was Magda, my girlfriend? She was living in Krakow, and I was visiting her every month or so, and went to a few bars there, and I was like, shit, this craft beer is damn good. And I was like, no, we have to, I just joked to Magda, I said, hey, I should try and import this into Denmark. Why not? And then, she's like, yes, you should. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And so she pushed me. First, we got a logo made and put up a website, and I contacted all the brewers, and it really went very slowly from there, because it's I've had to do my studies, and then I've got full-time jobs and that kind of stuff. But I think it's just super cool to be able to support Poland and showcase the super awesome beer that you guys are doing. And it's world class, definitely. And I think it's just people just don't realize that, or haven't for a while. And I think towards the end of last year, people are taking notice. Collabs that have happened with people in the US being like, oh, Grodziskie, and trying to brew that. And, the Baltic Porter as well, becoming a thing. I guess it's about time, right?
Yeah, it's always, it's like you said, like when we invite people for like one more beer from a festival from US and from Western Europe, they're almost like, where the fuck is Poland? and then they coming over and they're like, wow, where have you been? It's like, so it's just, I think it's the matter. It's probably also a fault of the packaging. So in Poland, there you just you can't sell bottles which are smaller than half a liter. It's the size in Poland, and everywhere else it's not the size. So when we started putting the beer into the cans, it really started to grow, because can is like an export package. So it's way easier to push it in cans. So
I actually noticed, even for myself here, like as I said, obviously I'm not, I can't import the amount that would be necessary to get one beer in 33 centiliters, because then I'd have to buy how many pallets from most breweries to get them to bottle that. But as soon as it's, people have been switching to cans, it's been, a lot easier to get bottle stores, to get other places involved. Even during this Corona time, it's, they're like, oh yeah, we'll take a small pack. And like selling a whole keg as well, and everyone was using patainas, and everyone hates patainas here.
Exactly.
And then obviously you guys and a few of the others are now doing key kegs, but then it adds cost to the beer, and then it's a hard thing to juggle. But I think the cans are definitely helping in a lot of ways, as you said.
Yeah, and now it's like more and more breweries putting the beer into cans in Poland. Like just last month, there was like probably 4 breweries started putting it into cans. So there's gonna be more. There's gonna be like a lot of cans now going from Poland now.
So as I was saying, I just got some funky fluid coming in. That was their first I missed the first batch of the cans, but now they put like 5 or 6, I think, into
Yep.
cans.
So it's just like once we started, and since we are the biggest one, we've got like a distribution all over Poland. When people got used to cans, it took a few months. Now we were using a mobile canning line, a like outsourcing kind of company. So the different breweries seen that maybe it is a time. Maybe a customer in Poland is ready for cans. And like you said, Funky Fluid started putting in the cans. Stu Mostów just bought a canning line. Malt Garden is starting to put it into cans. And,
they're doing that at Alla Brava.
but you don't know it from me.
Okay.
And we bought our own canning line. It's arriving. It's arriving on Monday.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that'll be the next Hazy Discos all coming in, or
Hazy Disco is we have to stop it for a bit just because of the Corona and stuff. We don't
Hazy Disco Copenhagen, man.
we don't want to make more online collabs. We just prefer to wait. But we are starting a new line. So the one will be the deli store, and the second one will be a collabs with the best Polish breweries. So we are making 2 beers next week, and it's going to be in a can, and it's going to be a hazy IPA. So it's basically like a hazy disco line with Polish breweries.
Is that Pinta and Friends? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know? Have you decided? You know who you're doing it with, right? You can't reveal that, or
True. No, I can't.
all right, fair enough. We'll push for that. All right, but yeah, hoping for Hazy Disco Copenhagen. Let's do it.
Hazy Disco Copenhagen was actually
the 3, right?
No, I think it was we already had it. We even put it in the calendar. We wanted to brew it with Tuo.
Cool.
But yeah, the virus.
Yeah. I never liked the beer anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Petersburg one. That's with our friends from Bakunin Brewery, from Saint Petersburg. So with this one again, we experimented with the malt bill, the grain bill. The goal with this one was to make it super light in color. So we put a very huge amount of oats, and only the lightest malts that we could find. But still to get this creamy base. And with the hops, we decided to go for a double IPA this time. So it's a 20 Plato. It's a big one. And we decided to push the limits. And this one is 26 grams per liter. Same as previous one, we put almost everything for dry hopping. And with this one, we decided to use more like a New World hops. Which is like Enigma and Big Secret from Australia. And they are giving this really nice kind of white fruits character. So it's a bit like a white grapes, maybe something close to Pinot Gris aromas, and maybe a bit of like people in Poland call it like a diesel kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diesel.
Yeah. That's a weird descriptor, I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it tastes good. I can tell you that much. So I don't know what diesel tastes like, but if it tastes like this, I might have to take a trip to the petrol station.
Yeah, we put a little bit of Citra and just Citra is we almost always use it. And also El Dorado hop, which is which goes more to like stone fruit apricot kind of thing. So yeah, I guess what you can get from this one is just like white fruits and stone fruits.
This is the highest rated Hazy Disco at the moment,
yes,
right?
Yes, 26 grams. That's the highest one.
I remember I think I cracked one open about 2 weeks ago, and that can had a bit of hop burn, but I liked it, and it seems to have gone a bit down now. There's still a little bit of a tickle at the back, but
Yeah, I always say I know that everyone loves, the slogan, the freshest the better.
yeah,
But there is something we call a packaging shock.
yeah,
So when you put the beer into can, it's a different packaging line than the bottles. So we don't use the counter pressure line, which means that we pour the beer with no pressure. So
yeah.
there are huge differences in the pressure before and after, and it just takes. I would say that it tastes best in a week or two after the packaging. So when we take it straight from the line, it's quite harsh. So we just like to keep it for a few days in the warehouse and then just send it over. And like I said, for me the best one is like probably like 10 days after packaging.
Like it's gotten better and better for me. Like I mean, I loved it the first time I cracked it open, and that was probably still like maybe 2 weeks afterwards, I think, or something. But then it seems to have. I think it's changing in a really nice way, but very, very. I don't know if it's changed that much. But
yeah, it definitely mellowed down. That's for sure.
Maybe I've just also gotten used to the hops.
Bitter, yeah.
I had the same thing with Zagreb. I drank one like a week ago, and right now it's much more mellow and much more sweet for sure.
Yeah. Gesundheit. I really like this. And how are the new hazy discos?
Was that again?
How are the new ones? The new hazy discos?
Oh, the new ones. So the two new ones are Lausanne and Bucharest, from our friends from Switzerland and Romania. And those two were a not in-person collabs. So we did the recipe and everything through the emails, and then we just made something like this. So like a video call with the guys on the day of brewing. And they're also quite interesting ones. So Lausanne is with quite a big addition of rye malt, and rye malt gives this oily texture and a bit of like a maybe zesty spiciness to the body. And we decided to go with more like grapefruity, orangey hops to complement this spiciness from the rye. The hop rate is around 22 grams, I believe. And the Bucharest one is a 100% oat IPA. So we didn't use any barley, any wheat.
So is that an oat IPA then?
Yep. But it's like when breweries calling IPA oat IPA, it means they're gonna put like 20% of oat. We put 100%.
What? But what's oat cream IPA then? When they say like oat cream,
it's like when you put 20%, you can basically call it oat.
Okay.
It just means that it has an addition of oat.
But this oat cream is that a different style?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just cream ale is the style, and that's it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
with this one, we used oat malt and oat flakes, and it was like 20% of oat flakes and 80% of oat malt. Filtration was a nightmare, and fermentation wasn't easy. But we managed to do it, and then we decided to go with the hops, which are like super melony. So it's like melon all the way. So we used Kashmir from US and Huel melon from Germany. So yeah, it's also quite interesting one.
Because I really love the Romanian craft beer scene. I mean, they're expensive, but like Hop Hooligans is awesome stuff. I wish they weren't crazy expensive and far away. Otherwise, that brings them in. Beretta, I haven't tried a lot of theirs, but we were there a couple of summers ago, and there was some cool stuff going on there.
Yeah, I think they're like Hop Hooligans is probably the most popular, probably the best one by far.
I think they were like the pioneers or something, essentially.
Yeah.
Don't they still essentially brew in a garage or something like this? Or maybe they
Yeah, the brewery is not huge,
no.
but now they getting quite good equipment. So
That's cool. I mean, this what crowd control and a few of the other beers that they were making are super solid, just
yeah.
hazy stuff. I think they were doing the hazy stuff before Poland was doing it properly.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, they beat you to it. But I think the brewer had gone to the States for a while or something like that, right?
yeah.
Like this, yeah.
Yeah, and they wanted to come for the brewing day right before Birgit Madness
yeah.
festival, but yeah, didn't happen.
Yeah, because
Too bad.
the Eastern European craft brewers coming to Beer Geek Madness, right?
Yeah, and we were supposed to be actually today in Bucharest for Haze Fest festival.
Oh
Yeah.
Shit.
So too bad didn't happen.
We'll start doing online beer festivals soon.
They do it in Poland, you know. They do it in
I saw
Poland.
that. Yeah, but isn't it essentially just this? And they call it a festival.
Yeah, you can call it festival if you want. Why not?
Okay, it's a festival. It's a Pinta festival. There we go. It's cool. It's cool. I guess you have to. You got to do what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy the beers. That's cool. I really like the St. Petersburg. I really love the Pamplona.
Oh, everyone's is just like asking when the Pamplona will be back, and I'm always like, never.
Never. Oh.
Yeah.
Never. Damn.
How
I mean,
about I saw on tap you have a Haarlem as well. So it must be fun to work with the Dutch. I might or might not be Dutch. I might be biased. I might not be, but it must be fun to work with the Dutch, isn't it?
Yeah. You mean the Hazy Disco Harlem, right?
I have no idea. I just saw it come by on tap that you have a hazy IPA Haarlem.
Yeah. That was the one made with brewery from Harlem called Het Elche.
Oh
If
yeah.
I'm pronouncing it right. And that was actually the only one in the series that was more onto West Coast-ish side. It was actually first collab in the line.
You did that after One More Beer Festival, right? When they were there?
I think it was at the day of the festival.
Oh, right.
So it was this one and Midwest. Midwest was with Forager and Transient from US.
I quite like that one. That was a bit more laid back, right? It wasn't super hazy.
Yeah. It was like, and it was also really, really light. It was like 5 something ABV.
Yeah.
So you seem to have distinct collaborations on country level, because I couldn't find any double country on Untapped. If you could pick one specific country or city you could collaborate with, which one would you pick and why?
Oh wow! I think for this line, since it's hazy IPA, I would probably pick like Manchester, because it's like a place to go for hazy IPAs, or some city in UK like a Falmouth where the Verdant is brewing, just because this line is hazy IPA. But if you ask me for like in general, then probably United States is a place to go for the best beers. So that's for us still unknown land. We were supposed to go there 2 weeks from now, but again.
Yeah. Shit happened.
Yeah.
And where were you going to go? Were you going to go to California? Or any specific city there?
We got invited for Gathering in the Wood Festival, which is close to Chicago. It was a festival concentrated on barrel-aged beers. So we got invited there, and then we had like a whole tour prepared from Chicago to Detroit, basically, just visiting the breweries. It was like a week long or so. We were like 2 days from buying plane tickets. So
something for the future then.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
How about
sorry.
How about San Diego? Because I heard, or I've been to San Diego. San Diego is one of these microbrewer booming cities, isn't it?
Yep, San Diego. Yeah, I guess the whole California is like a thing for craft beer. Washington is probably the next the big area for craft breweries, and now there's more and more coming in New York. So there's quite a few places to go there. There's like 8,000 or so breweries. So basically, whenever you go, there will be a good one.
Nostrovia.
Hello, can I just interrupt for a moment?
Of course you can.
Yeah, what were the hops you used for this one?
It was Citra, Eldorado, Enigma, and Vic Secret.
Yes. Thank you.
I like the Vic Secret. What are the kind of flavor profiles of that, do you reckon, Bartek?
For me, it's pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yeah. Enigma is more like white fruits. Vic Secret is more like pineapple, but it's not like one fruit and that's it. It always has like something more like, it's not really citrusy or tropical. It's more like, yeah, pineapple-ish.
I like it anyway. It was a Pilsner. It was a Vic Secret Pilsner from Puhasta, I think they're called, from Estonia. I really like that. It was like, for me, it was like a brute IPA because of the way that the Vic Secret kind of sat on top of that pineapple taste. I can't remember what it was called, but that was really nice. I think.
Yeah, you have to remember that. I mean, maybe not from consumer point of view, but for us, every crop every year is completely different. Like Citra 2019 is not Citra 2018, and you can clearly see it if you use that amount of hops. So yeah, so for example, Enigma 2019 is awesome. Galaxy was probably better in 2018. And Vic Secret from this year, for me, it's pineapple. 2019 is just pineapple.
What are like the new hop varieties to look out for then? Like these new names popping up, do you reckon?
So probably the hottest name at the moment is Strata.
Okay.
That's the new. I think they started to breed it like a couple of years ago. It's booming now in the US. They say it's like a passion fruit all the way. I couldn't get my hands on it this year, unfortunately. So I'll get some next year. Already contracted some, but this year there's probably like a couple of hundreds kilograms in Poland, so not enough for us. So that's the probably number one. There are also like an experimental hops like Lotus, Zappa. That's also quite new one, an interesting one. I think Sabro was like they launched it maybe a couple of years ago, but now it's just getting traction, I would say, and it's also changing year by year, and it's going for better and better. And also there is a trend that breweries are coming back to old hops, I would say, but they breed in like a new way, like Kashmir. So Kashmir it's not a new hop, it's an old hop. But if you put a lot of it, and if you put a lot from last crop 2019, it's like a melon all the way. Like it was for me, it was a really surprising, because I wouldn't expect anything from this hops, and it turned out really good. So the breweries are trying to put the hops that they were always putting for hot side, for bittering, they push it to cold side, and they put like 10 times the amount, and sometimes with great success.
What about some Polish hops? I know there's that Polish hops company. Do you reckon there's some potential there? I've heard like the descriptions are really interesting, at least.
Yeah, I think there is. It's just probably gonna take a few years more. So if you wanna breed a new variety, if you wanna cross like two different varieties to make a new one, it takes about 7 years to get enough of it to sell it to the breweries. So Paweł Piłat from Polish Hops Company, they started a few years ago, and they're just now starting to release some experimental varieties, but only for home brewers because there's not a lot of it. So I think in a couple of years there will be more of interesting stuff from Poland. It's more like yellow fruit-ish aromas, like maybe tangerines or peaches, something like this.
Okay.
It's getting interesting. I'm not sure if it's the time now, but it's gonna be soon. Like for Bucharest and for Lausanne, we've used new varieties from UK, and UK was always like, you know, a place to grow hops for bitters and boring styles. And when they started like a few years ago, they released now Jester and Olicana hops, and they're really good. We've tried some for the last Hazy Discos, and we are quite happy about it. So I guess the same thing is going to be with Polish hops.
That's cool. I look forward to that. I mean, the descriptions of them is cool. I don't know what they taste like, but the descriptions and the flavor profiles that they're saying they have, at least on the Polish Hops website, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting, at least. It's cool. Any other questions?
Can I ask another question? I was not present for the kvass tastings, but you mentioned they are called kvass because they're sours, but kvass is also a drink made of rye bread, isn't that so?
Yes, but it's in Russian.
Okay.
I mean, we call it like kvass chlebowy, which is a bread sour or something. But the word kvass, when you put it like with V, not W, it's in Russia it means a sour from the bread. But in Polish, kwas is just like acid, sour, something like this.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Or what do you guys think of this one? No, we're still on the Hazy Disco. So, I mean, do people agree with the rating?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, it is.
I might have missed it, but is there pineapple in it?
No, there's no pineapple. It's just the big secret is gives the aroma of pineapple, but there's no. We don't add any juices or any fruits to those two.
Well, then you found some sort of a chemical secret to create pineapple scent, because it's really pineapple-y.
Yeah, it's from Big Secret Hop. Yeah.
I think
That struck me when I just poured it, like the difference of colors between the Zagreb and this one. Like this one is so like you cannot see through it at all, and like so yellow and like just oh my god, like orange juice.
Yeah, that was the goal with when we were preparing the malt bill. The lightest one possible, and also the most hazy one doable. So the Zagreb one is a bit darker because of this Simpson's Golden Naked Oats, the caramelized oats. So with this one, we just used really, really light ones.
And then, so do you get more of that like caramelized taste then, obviously from the darker stuff in the Zagreb? That's what gives it that.
Yeah, I think I mean I like to put it as a nuttiness.
Yeah.
It's not really a caramelized malt by definition. It's more like a bit caramelized, toasted, I would say, and it's still not malt. It's just oats. It's not malt. It's flakes. So it's a bit different. Yeah,
that's cool. I think.
And another thing, that was a discussion I saw on Yepivka recently as well, and something that always struck me, like when I drink IPAs, a lot of them have something that I would recognize as an onion taste, and there was a huge discussion about good onion taste and bad onion taste. What's your take on that?
All of the onion taste comes from Citra. It's the 2019 Citra. It's just onion. It's spring onion. It's Lay's spring onion. You can't do anything about it. It's just. I'm pretty sure. I've read some research. I talked with the guys from US, and we are pretty sure that Yakima they've changed the kilning process. So when there's a time to get the hops, first they have to dry it, and once they dry it, they put it into pellet. So to be more efficient, they started to use higher temperatures, and the higher temperatures of kilning are giving this kind of oniony, garlicky smell. So yeah, I mean, we honestly we are trying to use less and less Citra if possible.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But on the other hand, we just made a single hop Citra, just to be sure that it's from Citra, and it is from Citra.
Embrace the onion.
Yeah, it's like when you smell it, it's like a Lay's chips spring onion, 100%.
Which one is that? It was a single hop Citra.
We're bottling it on Monday.
Okay.
It's called Sunny May. It's like a hazy IPA. The same malt bill as for a hazy disco.
Okay.
And the hop rate is also quite big. It's like 18 grams per liter. And we decided to use just Citra all the way, just to see if we're right or not.
And you say you were right.
Yep. I mean, it's changing, but like at the very if you taste it like straight after dry hopping, it's like 100% spring onion, and then it sort of fades away, but not like it doesn't fade away completely. So there's a lot of dankiness from 2019 Citra, but the spring onion is always there. And some people love it, It just
I must say I don't mind. I mean, I love onion. Maybe that's I don't. Okay. It's all good with me. Not so good with my breath, I guess. Who knows? But yeah.
Okay, are we moving on to the next one?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yep.
West Coast.
Yep. So we are going more bitter this time.
I'll just go get mine.
So that's the first and only one beer that looks like beer, which is not hazy.
I have to admit, I ran out of the IIPPAA, so I had to go with your single.
Oh yeah, cool.
For me, everyone else got the IIPPAA, but I missed the run to the bottles.
Modern drinking is also quite interesting. It's actually no one knows it, but it's actually a single hop mosaic.
Huh.
So yeah, quite interesting.
It does say mosaic on there at least, yeah.
Yeah. But people are like, yeah, there's mosaic and probably 10 different hops, but it is a single hop mosaic. So
I like the modern drinking. I think it's super easy, yeah. And I think it's cool to see this resurgence of the West Coast coming back, right? I think everyone still wants the hazy stuff, but people want to cut it up with a bit of West Coast in between, right?
True. I mean, ironically, we've got we have this line that we call a pint of the month.
Yeah.
We make a beer in small amounts, just in kegs, and we only sell it to 100 or so pubs in Poland. So it was never bottled or canned. But because of the corona, we decided to put it into bottles for the first time, the whole batch, and the whole income from this beer is going to the pubs.
Cool.
And we made a hoppy pilsner, which is like completely out of any popular styles at the moment, and we were really surprised that it was probably the beer that was most hyped over the last 6 months. Like,
what?
It's crazy. It's just crazy. I'm like, what just happened? So it's actually, when you check it now, it's number 5 pilsner in the world on Rate Beer. It's crazy. Yeah.
We only got 1 case of that in, and unfortunately, it was a small order, the last one. Half the order was taken up by kegs that I can't use, unfortunately. So next one will be obviously just bottles, so I can also get an IIPPAA in on the beer tasting. But I really like that the hoppy pilsner. I think it was. It is that kind of palate cleanser, right? That you're kind of searching for.
Yeah. So the West Coast Double IPA, as you can see on a photo, it was also part of the project Pint of the Month 2017. So sometimes when the beer really, got a lot of attention, we decide to make it on a regular basis. So that was one of those beers. 2017 was a year of West Coast IPAs all over. So as you can see, it's clear, it's bitter, it's high in ABV. It has around 8%, I believe. 8.1. Yeah. Super dry, and the hop rate is more on the hot side. Like, it's probably like 50-50 hot side, cold side, whereas on hazy disco it's like 90 to 10. So, and also the hops that we use for this one are like old world hops. So like Simcoe, Citra, Falconer's Flight blend. So they all give a more like a piney raisin kind of thing. It's not that tropical citrusy. It's more like dank raisin. Like some call it like forest-ish aromas from Simcoe. And the hop rate for this one is also not that big. It's probably around 9-10 grams per liter, so half of the amount from hazy discos. And back then it was like no one would believe that we put that much of hops. So things changed.
I remember when just speaking about hop rates. I think when was it? Was it 2018? Browar Gollum came over. I did like a little tour with them around Denmark, and we did a session IPA with Flying Couch, and Arthur from Gollum was like, "What the fuck? We would never put this much hops into any beer in Poland. Like double what we could max do."
Yeah.
Obviously, things are changing, right?
I mean, it's when you're a contract brewer, it's just for the actual owner of the brewery, like the facility.
Yeah.
If you say that you want to put that amount of hops, he's like, no. So it's impossible. It's impossible to make. Like the technology of the brew houses and fermenters, etc. If you would build a brewery like 10 years ago, they're not ready for this amount of hops. They're just not ready. It's like when you open the doors of the fermenter, you shouldn't open it because the hops are above the doors. So
what the
yeah. Like I've calculated last week that for 9 hazy discos we made 9 cans. So for 9 beers, 9 batches, we used a 1.5 ton of the hops.
What?
So it's yeah.
How
It's
much?
a lot.
How much of the the beer is lost then just to the hops sucking it up? You take
So that's another thing. If you make it in the old system, old facility, I've heard that some breweries in Poland are having like 60% loss.
Whoa.
We are cutting it to 15.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's still a lot. So if you make 100 hectoliters of beer, you've got like 83, 85 hectoliters of final product. So it's still,
Yeah.
it's a lot. If you make Pilsner, you got like 0.5 of loss.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So
damn. So I mean, like that's the thing. You're paying more for the ingredients, obviously, with the hazy stuff because there's more of that going in, and then you're losing.
Yep.
If 60 at an old place.
There's like 25% of the price is hops. It's just hops. And then you've got everything else like malts, taxes, a margin for the brewery, margin for distributor, a margin for the shop, etc.
Yeah.
So 25% is just hops.
Crazy. Martin wants to say something. I can see it.
Oh yeah, you can see me. I'm like ready. I mean, that's like the Pinta Miesiąca that like kicked off. But can you say about the biggest fuck ups that you did, like that you actually released, not the ones that like didn't make it, but the ones that you released and you're like, fuck, we messed up.
I'm in Pinta for like not even 2 years, and I don't really remember any like a huge fuck up. It did happen at the beginning of Pinta when they didn't release the beer, they just put it to the drain. So it did happen. I really can't recall any like a huge fuck up. We taste the beer like through the whole process. We tasted probably like 10 times, and then after packaging another 10 times. So if it's not good, we are not releasing it, and that's it. And that's it. We did made some crazy fucking beers. Like we made a beer with like a 50% of like black malts, like completely burnt malts, and some of the people were just saying that it tastes like cigarettes. But we were like, yeah, let's try, and we made a small amount of it. Arthur for Golem was probably the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Crazy for those.
Yeah, but no, not really. If it's a fuck up, I mean, now when you have your own facility, it's not, we've got a full control of it. So even if the fermentation won't go right or something like this, we
cannot hear.
have been. Oh yeah,
Someone's
back, I guess. Yeah, someone muted me.
I think I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so we had like beer we made for our new product Pinta Barrel Brewing, which had like 35 Plato, and it was 12.
Someone is unmuting everyone. The three guys followed Jester is unmuting everybody. Why?
What is happening?
I think I'm back again.
The group with three people that call followed Jester is keep on muting everybody.
I can kick them. Which one?
Followed Jester. They keep muting everybody. Okay, to be realized now.
Yeah, I think we're back. So yeah, again, I mean, we made a beer which had really high Plato, 35 Plato, 12 hours boil. We made it for our new project, and it was made strictly for barrel aging. So we made it like 18 months before launching, and we knew that we're going to put it into the barrels for 18 months. And the fermentation was pain in the ass. It just didn't go well. 35 Plato is like super thick, super sugary base. So, like I said, when things like this happen, we just came up with an idea to put. So we started with like a normal yeast, like US-05 regular yeast, clean yeast, top fermenting yeast, and then they stopped working because of the thickness and the ABV and sugars and everything. So we pour some bottom fermented yeast. So we basically made a mixed fermentation imperial stout, and it worked. So when you've got like a full control and you're at the brewery every single day and you track the beer every single day, it's really hard to make some fuck ups. Like if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing.
That's good to know, at least. I guess that's the thing. When you're in control, you can kind of, oh, we had this beer in mind, but you know what? We're going to change this a bit until it.
I mean, I've heard stories from our friends from different contract breweries from Poland that, for example, they came over for the brew day, and then they came over 3 weeks later when the beer was almost done, and they like, oh, you put the different yeast. You put like a Weizen yeast there. And the guy was like, nah, I put the regular yeast. And it's like, I can feel the banana. Like, come on. So, you know, sometimes it happens.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. I guess that's how it goes, right? What does everyone think about the IIPPAA? Different, lots of bitterness, right? Coming in there.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Of all the beers I've had so far, we put them in the rank of order. So again, you've got two non-classical IPA lovers. This one was most like a classical IPA. So it had the fruitiness in the beginning and in the smell, and then it goes to quite a bitterness in the end that stays quite long in the back of the tongue. Where the hazies don't have that. We've got the Quas XY. We're clear that is the top one.
Nice.
And then in this one, we're saying this is most what we would consider a traditional IPA. Is that the same for you? Would you consider this to be, from what we've had so far, your most traditional type of IPA?
Yep, definitely. I mean, that's like old school West Coast IPA. Yeah, there's like, you know, in United States that was a popular style probably like 15 years ago. So yeah, this is the most traditional IPA.
And a follow-up question to it. So, as a Belgian beer lover, would you ever consider brewing a quadruple? I love quadruples.
We were thinking about it, but it's not easy to sell. I mean, Belgian beers are. I love Belgian beers. I love saisons. I love lambics. Double, triple, quadruple. Yeah, all good. But in Poland, and I think all over Europe now, is just almost unsellable. Unless you make a really, really good lambic wild beer, it's just super hard to sell. And for quadruple, we are thinking to make one like really, really high Plato and put it into the barrels. So like to make this, you know, like kind of peppery, spicy, raisiny notes and put it into maybe cognac barrels or something like this to complement the rest. And I think it's going to happen sooner or later. It's just, you know, as the hazy IPAs are now the thing for barrel aging stuff, it's like imperial stouts. So there will be a time for quadruple, I hope.
Yeah. What do you think explained the big boom of the IPAs over the last couple of years?
I have no idea why. I mean, I mean, we just kind of we are trying to follow the trends as fast as we can, and it's always like you can see something booming in US, then it's coming to UK, and then it's all over Europe, and it boomed in US, and it just it's like you put it over Europe. It's like everyone's making hazy IPAs now. I mean, it tastes great. Why not? We still over the year we are making. Last year we made 59 different beers. So if you really want, you will find appeals. We still make appeals, and we still make a West Coast IPA. We still make like East Coast IPA. But the new stuff, the popular stuff, is probably the hazy one.
Yeah, and so it's so cool. I love to see how where you've lived and where you come from makes a difference. So I've lived in a city in Belgium called Leuven. I don't know if you know it. It's the hometown of Jupiler, and they have a bunch of brews. And then they, I don't know if you know the brand Duvel.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody knows Duvel, right? So if you go to Leuven, and I've lived there for several years, if you go to a terrace in the summer at 10 in the morning, there's nobody sitting there drinking a coffee. Everybody there has an 8.5 ABV Duvel at 9 or 10 in the morning on the terrace in the sun. And it's such a cultural thing to have the triples and the quadruples there from any point of the day that it got so stuck onto me that I'm starting to notice now. I'm moving a little bit more towards the popular brews, but having been in Belgium where they've been so traditional in their brewing styles that the most sour you would go is Lambic.
Yeah.
And all the others were just the blondes, doubles, triples, quadruples. It's interesting how it's culturally sometimes grounded.
I think it's like you can find this spots in Europe, like when you go to Germany, you go to Köln, you got Kölsch, you go to Düsseldorf, you got Altbier, you go to Bamberg, you got smoky beers. So it's like you've got this really nice spots where you can go and you can see that people are drinking only this special one kind of beer. And it's really fun. It's really fun, yeah. Like we love to go to Bamberg, to Germany. We're trying to go there at least once a year, and it's like a place to go for smoky beers. So you can drink either Pils or smoky beer there, and that's it. There's nothing else there. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and you can learn a lot from those things.
I think also speaking about like the quadruples and triples and doubles, I know Czech Kumpli just released a line like a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, they did triple, they did quadruple.
I think they did. Did they do a double? Did they do a double? I don't know.
Yes, they did. They did. I think they did all three of them in small 330 bottles.
Yeah,
but that was a really small amount.
Ah, okay. It seemed like they got some good reviews from what I saw. At least I didn't try any.
I've tried all of them. I think for the same price you can buy triple Carmelite, and that's no question for me.
That's exactly. I guess that's the hard thing, right? I mean, the Belgium stuff, they've ruined such a mass scale, and they've been doing it for so long.
Also, at Czech Kumpli, they just made a Rauch Doppelweitenbock.
Oh, is that the one with Juansut?
Yeah, and it's the same. You can buy for like probably the same price. You can buy the best Rauch Doppelbock in the world. So
it's hard, right? Like it's cool to do those styles, but are you going to be able to? I mean, the price point's not going to be there, right?
It's cool for the brewers.
Yeah,
it's not sure if it's cool for the customers.
I mean, I guess it's nice to be a brewery that has that power to just be like, whatever, we're just going to do what we want. Yeah, if it doesn't sell,
Yeah, I mean, if you make a small amount, you'll sell it. If you make like a few thousand bottles, no problem. Yeah. But for each batch of our beers, there's like at least 15,000 bottles. So you're not going to sell 15,000 bottles of triple. And on the other hand, if you've got such a big tanks and you made beer which makes a half full fermenter, it's not efficient in any way.
I think Martin wanted to say something. I can see him.
I wanted to say we haven't had a cheers in a while, so cheers.
Yeah, good point.
Zdrowie.
Zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Proost, hè? Proost, jongens.
Proost, jongens.
Beautiful international ways of cheers. Yes.
Can we have
And
it?
skull in Danish, right?
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend from. She was from Ukraine, but she was Russian Ukrainian. So she was pretty fucked up in that way. And she always said that it wasn't how Hoy would say it, like Nostrovia. It was like a Nostarovia.
Yep, it's a bit different. It's Polish and Russian. It's not it's quite similar. Like every time I go and speak Polish, people are abroad. The people are telling me that I'm Russian. So it's quite similar, but it's the accent is a bit different. So yeah, the Russian one is like na zdarowie, yeah.
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Oh, Nostrovia. Oh, cheers! Oh, skål!
Skål.
Skål.
Skål, fan. Skål. And proost.
Skål.
So what's the nationalities we have on the line now?
Well,
You must be a presenter
Polish
guy.
and
You must be
Lithuanian.
Australian or Kiwi.
very good, very good. I'm actually, the mix is also because I was born in South Africa, so it's a mix, like South African Australian. So it's
So
like,
you speak? Do you speak Afrikaans?
unfortunately not. I'm from a German English South African family. My mom's side Scottish, actually Scottish South African, and my dad's side with the German South Africans. I missed out on the Afrikaans. I left before I left.
That's too bad. Otherwise, I could have coped with my Dutch and your Afrikaans. Fair enough.
I mean, I can say some swear words and some naughty things, but that's about it. So.
That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a bit Dutch. More Afrikaans, I guess. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to string a conversation together unless it's all about bad things. Of course.
We've got Sweden represented here on my left-hand side, and then Holland represented on my own side. Any other nationalities that we got on the line? Well, Polish.
Polish.
No, we are Danish.
Danish.
And Anela is Lithuanian.
Lithuanian.
Will, speak up. I can't hear, but I know Will's going to say he's Czech, and Kirsty, where's she from?
Oh yeah, I see in the bottom. Will with the beard. Will's got a beard, yeah.
No, we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you, but we know who's Will.
Turn your mic on. Right in the chat.
Typing. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that Will is Welsh.
No, he's Czech, actually.
Oh, Czech. Yeah, Will. Typical Czech name.
We should do a lip reading contest. So Will should say something, and all of us should give our best guess of what he's saying.
Okay, I'll start. I can do this. All right. You ready?
Will says he's Scottish.
Is Will Scottish?
I mean, he sounds Scottish, but he said he was Czech. You lied to me, Will. You lied to me. Oh, Will.
She is Scottish.
Sorry, my inappropriate humor. All right.
Should we move to the last one?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I see that.
This double IPA, West Coast IPA, was that a single hop mosaic?
No. There's so Citra, Falconer Spice, and Columbus.
All right, thank you. Nice.
Next up, yep. Oh, I've got to change the screen.
So, question. We're reading here on the bottle, it says dobra. As far as I know, that means good in Polish. Why do you write that on your own bottles?
So, so that's actually a name of a coffee roastery that we take the coffee from.
With a small ego.
Yeah. So this one is an espresso lager. We brewed it back in 2015, 2016, also as a part of a pint of the month. In 2016, it was named the best dark lager in the world by Rate Beer. So we had quite a huge success with it. It's basically just a lager with a lot of coffee. So we put coffee on both on hot side and cold side. There's around 100 kilograms of coffee for one batch. We grind it, and then we put a part in a kettle and a part we throw like right before bottling. So we just keep the cold beer on the coffee for about 45 minutes. And we picked a Guatemalan coffee for this one. So that doesn't give a lot of acidity, but it gives a lot of chocolatey kind of aromas. Yeah, pretty much that's it.
So if we drink it, because espresso is relatively creamy, and the lager is usually relatively easy drink and watery. What should we expect? More towards the creaminess of the espresso or the lightness of a lager?
I think it's you wouldn't get that much of creaminess, but that would be like a so-called perceived creaminess, let's say. So if you smell coffee and you can taste the coffee, then you probably tell yourself that it's more or less creamy. But yeah, the lager is crispy. It's super crispy, and probably if we would make it again, like in a different way, then we would put nitrogen instead of normal carbonation. But yeah, I guess it's somewhere in between.
I really like this one.
This is honestly, I haven't tried this batch yet, but it's my first time trying this batch. But that's probably one of the best batches.
This
ever.
is like I love the coffee taste, and it's a great way to finish as well. I think it just kind of rounds it all off and something different. By the way, actually, on the label that I have on the screen, it says coffee proficiency from Krakow.
Yes. So the guy that we're working with changed the companies. Yeah. So since the very beginning, we were working with this guy Kuba, really talented barista from Krakow. So he started in coffee proficiency, and then he moved to Dobra, and he's actually a co-owner of Dobra.
Oh, okay.
And to every single beer that we are using coffee, we are always working with him. So he's picking the coffee. We are talking with him through the whole process, how to use it, when to use it, how to grind it, etc., etc. So yeah.
Are they both in Krakow? Because I think Dobre
Yeah.
and because I went to both actually. Because there was at one stage I was kind of like, with some beers, I'll also bring in some coffee. I mean, both of the roasteries had really nice coffee. Like, whoa.
Yeah. They both in Krakow. We even made like a cold brew together. We made a cold brew with hops.
Oh yeah, that's nice, super nice. I remember. You do you make it more on a regular basis, or was it
Nope, it was one off. We are still making and bottling some cold brews for him. So he made like a cold brew with passion fruit, a cold brew with plum. So we sometimes just bottle for him. But this cold brew with hops was just one off.
I remember that being, for me, it was super nice. I really liked it.
The hard thing with cold brew when you make it at the brewery is that coffee doesn't like CO2 and beer doesn't like oxygen, and coffee likes oxygen. So it's not easy technically to make, because when you add carbon dioxide to the cold brew, you make it more like sour, I would say. So there are certain chemical reactions that it just doesn't go well with carbon dioxide, and we cannot put the carbon dioxide. For us, is the only way to pour the beer safe. So if we use any oxygen, it's gonna oxidize the beer, and it's not gonna oxidize the cold brew. So it's always hard technically.
I guess until you get some nitro going, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah, and with nitro, it's also like, it's not easy. You need basically the whole different equipment to purge nitrogen in it, and nitrogen doesn't really dissolve well in beer. That's why Guinness has this ball kind of thing. So you can probably just use nitrogen instead of carbon dioxide, but it's not gonna dissolve that well, and then it's gonna disappear through the bottling. So yeah, it's really, really hard.
What do you guys think? What do you guys reckon about the name? I know you went around when they did the I'm So Horny, but
I don't know. I don't know what it says about the brewers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually, I mean, so the name, it's a bit of a word game, because we say in Polish that when you say you brew the coffee, you can say it's really difficult. So if you can say that you roast the coffee beans, and in Polish it means that you say palone, and napalone means horny in Polish. So it's a bit of like a Polish sentence moved to English in a funny way.
You just blew my mind. I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Because you say yes to napalone, which means like I am like burning,
Yeah.
And it means like burning the coffee as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's I don't know what it tells me about me, but like that's the favorite beer we had like tonight. So
Martin knew it was coming, but I'd ordered some of the I'm So Horny. He says, give me a whole case. He was ready. Like I say, like he says, that says about either of you, but probably not about.
And it's always
either
really
or
funny.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always really funny when Kuba from the coffee roastery, he's calling us like every few months, and he's saying like, when we are making horny. Like,
But seriously, it's on the Swedish Dutch list of non-IPA lovers. This has gotten the top place. We were doubtful of whether it was the Quas XY or the I'm So Horny, but the I'm So Horny beat it because we would drink that throughout the year, and the Quas XY would be more for summer.
Yep.
But this is like a really nice combination of espresso and the beer. So really well made. I really like it.
Cool.
Yes, you really like my picture. I'll show it to you.
I think is it a good picture. What's happening at the bloggers table over here? Is this a picture of the coffee?
It's not important. Not at all. No.
Well, then it is important. If you took that picture, then that's very important. I mean, come on.
Well, he's not important at all. No.
No, but the picture is.
Our podcast today.
I actually thought that we unmuted us. I'm so sorry. We didn't know that.
Guys, we just want to say that we are big fans of the guy in the middle, like laying on the couch. Amanda was like, "That's my spirit. You are her spirit animal. You are her spirit animal."
Yes.
It's broken.
Perfect. I mean,
So,
Oh
but
no.
what kind of malts did you use for this espresso lager?
So it was a mix of a Munich malt, a bit of a Pilsner malt, and then just some dark malts. It's nothing really out of ordinary. So the base is mostly just Pilsen and Munich, and then some dark malts to give it a little bit of roastiness, and of course the color. The coffee long won't give you the color. So we designed it the way that the roastiness should come more from the malt than from the coffee. That's why we only leave it for 45 minutes on the coffee. So it's a very, very short time, just to get the chocolatey nuttiness from the coffee, and all the roastiness comes from dark malts.
All right, yeah, and it's just the mouthfeel of this one is just really, really great, and a lot unlike other lager beers. So really well done.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I think the combination of that lager taste and that coffee taste, I think it sits really well. I think the Czechs do quite a bit of coffee lagers, if I'm not mistaken. At least there's a few.
I think the Czechs make a lot of dark lagers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At least, okay, so maybe not a lot, but there is one brewery, Martin, you know this one. You tried it. You had this coffee lager, no?
I was about to I was just looking for the name of the brewery right now, because I said that was I love I'm So Horny, and I just tried one coffee lager that I liked equally, and that was from this Czech monastery that I tried.
Yeah.
That I would love you to do a collab with. I'm just gonna check the name real quick.
Yeah.
Czech monastery.
Yeah, so actually, sorry, I got it wrong. It wasn't a lot of breweries that did it in Czech Republic. It was one that did it, and they're popular all over. Well, maybe not massively popular, but they're well known over Czech Republic for doing this coffee lager. Came to the Czech Republic. What do you call this? In different countries, you have the countries. Magistrate? No. What's it called? Consulate? No. The Polish.
What you mean?
Like in Denmark, they have the Polish.
The embassy.
Embassy.
Oh my! You see, after 5 beers, it's not that easy. Right?
That was a long way around to find embassy.
Do you mean Strahov Brewery?
Think so. That sounds right.
No, they're from Prague, right?
But But Martin's shaking his head, so I don't know.
If not Strachov, then probably Zhikovets.
Could be Zhikovets. I think it was a really small one, actually. It was a really tiny one that was doing it. But I remember it being very good as well. But anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm so horny. It's better in my books anyway, so who cares?
So with I'm So Horny, the dark malts, we really love to use the it's called chocolate wheat malt from Weirmann. So that's like a really dark one, almost black, like 90% black. And then when you try it, when you eat it, it really gives this kind of dark chocolate taste and a bit of roastiness. So we use quite a bit of it for this one. And since it's a wheat malt, it does give this a little bit more silky mouthfeel.
Yeah. And actually, Martin was complaining. He had his first bottle of this a couple of weeks ago when they first came in, and he was saying, "Oh, I was trying to keep awake, but instead I felt sleepy instead."
But that is also because I was just eating some food and had that beer with the food, and I just completely overate, and I just passed out of my sofa after that. And I was like, "What? That was supposed to be espresso."
I mean, there's around, we used 100 kilograms for 7,000 liters.
Oh, okay.
So I guess if you calculate it right, maybe it's not like an espresso, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's a quite a lot of caffeine in it. So
Is what's his name from Dobra? What did you say his name was?
Kuba.
Kuba. Is he sitting there making the espressos, putting them into a bucket, or how does it work?
No. We use for this one we use a grinded beans.
Okay, you're just putting them straight in then, yeah.
Yeah. So we put a part of it when we boil the beer. So like straight to the boiling kettle, and the rest of it is like 80% of the coffee goes for the cold side.
Oh,
so we put it into bags.
Yeah.
And we transfer beer from tank to tank, and then we pour the beer. So we like put the coffee in one, and then we put it over, and then we keep it for like 45 minutes, and then we bottle it. So it's right before bottling.
Okay, just to give it that like. Yeah.
If you keep it, you have to be really careful with the coffee because if you keep it for too long, it gives you this astringency, which is not very pleasant. So if you put it on cold side, the quicker the better.
Yeah. Huh. Because I know just because the reason why I was asking about pouring the espressos because I know. Kingpin's Turbo Geyser, at least what I was told by, I think his name Marek or
Marcin. I think Marcin.
Yeah.
Or Marek. Maybe Marek. Yeah.
Before he had left, I met him about 2 years ago, and we went to this Brismani, I think it's a coffee place in Poznan. I think it's called.
Yeah.
Saying like these guys, we met there, and he said, "Yeah, when we do this Turbo Geyser, these guys hate me because we say." It's time to make a turbo geyser, and like fuck, because they have to sit there they like made the espresso shots and put them into like buckets or into there.
Yeah, it's with the coffee, you've got plenty of techniques to put it into beer. All of them has like upside and downsides. With putting espresso, the hardest thing is that you can invite some oxygen into beer.
Yeah, okay.
Which is not good. On the other hand, it will give you more aroma probably than the beans. So yeah, you just have to balance it out. Probably you have to use more beans than the espresso. Yeah.
Yeah, true. But at least you don't have to make thousands of espresso shots, or I don't know how many espresso shots I have to do.
Sure.
I remember it was an anecdote I was told. I had a beer tasting with a bartender from Mikkeller who had a lot of Mikkeller beers with us for the tasting. And where Mikkeller began was when he made this beer geek breakfast. And he was still a high school teacher at that point in time, was just a home brewer trying to make beer. And he wanted to try and make a beer with coffee. And he kept calling around different brewers and different stuff and finding out, what can I do to get my beer to taste like coffee? And people were giving him long and hard explanation of what to do. And you can maybe do this and this and this, until he got a hold of one. Just say, brew a pot of coffee, pour it in the beer, and you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where, yes,
I mean,
who's hearing us now is that's where we get the Beer Geek breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, coffee is really powerful. I mean, last time we tried to put coffee into barrel-aged beer, we had like a separate tank, like an infuser. So we have a big tank and a small tank, the infuser, and we just pump it up like all over. And you put the coffee into this one. You got a false bottom, so the coffee doesn't go into the beer. So it's pretty convenient. And we are like, oh yeah, we're just gonna pump it out for like a day or two. That was the plan. So we put like a coffee, coconut, and maple syrup and vanilla and everything into the infuser. And the coffee was at the top of all these ingredients. So there was like plenty of coconut and vanilla and stuff. And at the top was the coffee, and the beer was going from the top to the bottom. And we were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna leave it, why not? Normally people use it, normally the breweries use it for at least 12 hours, like recirculating. And we turned on the pump and everything was great. And I was like, yeah guys, maybe just try it, like, it's been like 15 minutes or so, but maybe just try it. I was like, I'm not a really patient man, so I was like, yeah, let's try it now. And we put it away just to sample, and it was like coffee all over. It was just coffee after 15 minutes. And I'm like, guys, we need to stop. We need to open it and take the coffee out, because after 12 hours, it's going to be madness. It's going to be nothing but the coffee. So after 15 minutes, we just took out the coffee, closed it again, and recirculate on the rest of the ingredients. It's really, really powerful.
But how do you just remove the coffee?
Because you've got this separate infuser, we can open it from the top.
Mm-hmm.
So you can push the beer with the pressure to the big tank, then open the small one, take the coffee out, close it back, purge it with CO2, and turn it back on. So it was all safe.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway, I managed to find that beer. I just put it on the chat.
But does it come through if they're not logged in? Because I don't know, like.
No, you should be able to see the chat here.
Oh yeah, but you can't click.
Okay.
It's untapped. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't tried that one.
I mean, I know that when I talked with them, they said that they do very small batches, so they don't even have enough to export.
Oh, okay.
But like, I think that the consensus was that that's the best coffee lager in whole Czech Republic.
Oh wow!
In the room, and that was the event I was on, where there was like a bunch of Czech breweries specifically, and even the other brewers were like, "Yeah, those guys, they got it."
What happened to the Danish bloggers? They run away?
I think
To be honest, like when I came to bring the beer to them, he told me that they had an event earlier with Unibrew.
They were on their way. Don't worry.
So they were there before they joined this one, and I think it's just gotten a lot. But also, I was like, it's a shame that they're gone, because he has a very cute dog, and I wanted him to like show the dog.
Bartek, I have a question as in beers, because I know nothing.
Come to the screen, Magda.
Because it's in Polish,
This
so
is
no one
Magda,
else
everyone.
understands, I think. But how do you come up with those recommendations what to eat with the beer? Because on all of your bottles, you have recommendation of what is the perfect food to match. But
yep. So
others won't understand.
So So that's our owner kind of thing. He loves to put food pairing on bottles. So he just come up with all these ideas. In every single beer there's a food recommendation, and there was quite a bit of a discussion a few years back about food pairing. So breweries from Poland, they were trying to push the beer more into the restaurant. So we had to do something to convince people that you can also match beer with food, not just wine with food. So yeah, that's like a sort of our thing.
I know some of them are also like just for a bit of fun. Like
yeah, but no, I actually want to ask the one on St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah.
Joke, or is it a real fact that it's a good pairing? Because you have here bliny z kawiorem, which is like dumplings with caviar.
It's perfect pairing. even the can is shining.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just.
I was thinking maybe it's only a Russian taste into it, but it's not really a good pairing.
I think it's just like I've never heard that someone actually tried this pairing.
Exactly.
But yeah,
you can imagine it being good, right?
Yeah, I mean, in our new line, we're probably gonna skip it. So we were trying to find food pairing for our daily store line, but when you put like banana, pineapple, passion fruit, mango, vanilla, and lactose, there's like, what can you pair it with? Like a fruit salad?
Is food, right? It's food in itself, essentially, right?
Yeah.
You could pair it with some other dessert, I guess. You could eat it with another dessert.
Yeah, but it's I guess it's just the thing. It's more like we are working on the label with the graphics, and our owner is thinking about the food pairing.
Cool.
Okay,
Is he a big foodie himself? Is he into food?
Yeah. I mean, all of the owners, all three of them, the guys are crazy about food and crazy about travels and trying weird food when they're like in weird places. So yeah, that's their thing.
When they started off, were they just doing it was very small batches at like a restaurant brewery or something, wasn't it, or something like this? I can't remember.
You mean at the beginning, or?
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. They started with like just making, I think that their first batch was like 1,000 bottles or so.
Okay.
So really, really small.
500 liters.
And it wasn't easy to convince actual breweries to agree for a contract brewing for different breweries. So yeah, the beginning, it was quite hard.
I've heard that actually starting contract brewing in Poland is a lot easier than a lot of other places, just because of the way that the whole scene started. It's become a lot more friendly to contract brewing.
Now, yes.
Yeah.
Now, yes. Now you can find a few breweries that opened just to get the contract breweries. So they don't even have their own brand. Like a
Browar Pinta, isn't
Yeah, you've got Sade, you've got Zarzecza, you've got like probably 5 of them.
Yeah,
they don't have their own brand, but they just contract brew everything.
Yeah, like the one for Czech Kumpli, they essentially built that contract brewery for Czech Kumpli, and then some others, right?
Exactly. That's like really original way. I mean, one guy just built a brewery, and the second guy just came up with the recipes, and they still operating as 2 separate companies, but they're kind of one. So
yeah, that's cool. I think it's nice to have that kind of flexibility, I guess. But then again, as you say, to have that, well, I guess for Piotr at Czech Kumpli, I guess he kind of has a lot of control over the beer anyway, even though it is contract.
Yes.
It's not his brewery, but it kind of is, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah, and the strategy is that they don't really make a lot of new beers.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep with the regulars, so they can really, make it perfect. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, punny punny for me. I think it still stands the test of time. Of course, you got all this hazy stuff coming in, but you can always go back to a punny punny.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the first batches of Pani Pani. They were like, what the hell is it?
Yeah, they didn't even call it New England. It's just a wheat IPA, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool, but it's super cool to see all the Polish guys coming in with the haze craze as well. I think it took a while for Poland to get in behind that because
yeah, I mean, if you consider Pani Pani as New England,
yeah,
then it was probably before New England happened in US.
yeah, I guess so, right? It's
Yeah.
funny because, like, at least when I was trying to import some IPAs about 3 years ago from Poland, it got a lot harder to get the IPAs in because in Denmark they're already on the whole haze craze, and it was a lot harder to get the old school IPAs that Poland was still kind of doing back then, for the most part. So IPAs were a lot hard to get in, but obviously the barrel aged stuff from Poland has always been like the forefront. I think it's like some of the best barrel aged stuff you can get in Europe for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we have a huge tradition in making Baltic porters, and just making big beers is not that unusual for us.
Yeah.
So it was obvious choice to go into barrels, and I think now it's some of the breweries are really growing the barrel aging programs. And they can probably finally start to blend the beers, which is not also easy from the legal point of view.
Okay.
But I think that's the next thing, like in side project or Cycle or WeldWorks from US.
Yeah.
They always say that the main part of barrel aging is blending, and we couldn't really do any blending before because we didn't have enough barrels. And now, for example, we have at the moment around 250 barrels, which is enough to make blending. So it's good. So you can go and pick 50 barrels of Imperial Stout and just took 10 to blend.
Huh. So like on a legal standpoint before you couldn't do that, or because
I mean you have to just figure it out. So when you contract brew, blending, not really. You shouldn't do it. You could, but you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there's been a few that have definitely done that, right? So
probably.
Yeah, I mean,
and on the other hand, when you just buy 10 barrels, it's not enough for blending.
Yeah, okay.
And when you have 50, it might be enough. And now we got to the point where, for example, I'm ordering the whole container straight from USA, so I'm not even using any bypass in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm just getting it straight from Kentucky. So there's a whole container full of bourbon barrels straight from US.
Sure.
So the scale went up a lot.
Yeah.
So you probably find really, really top quality beers a few months from now.
Sick.
In Poland. Yeah.
From you.
From us, but also from different breweries. Like Brokeracja, they also have around 100 barrels.
I really like their blending, or their barrel aged stuff. Brokeracja, I think.
Yeah.
I really like what Mateusz. That's the.
Yeah, Mateusz. Yeah. There's also Malt Garden starting a huge barrel aging program. Funky Fluid bought some barrels, so it's going to be a huge amount of barrel aged beers in 2021, I guess.
Nice. I mean, there always has been, I think, but I think, as you say, it's probably been a lot harder to get exactly the flavor you want. It's probably been throw in the barrel and hope that you get what you're after, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is that when you can finally start to combine the beer that was, for example, for 6 months in the barrels with the beer which was for 18 months, it's going to give you a whole different complexity, and it's just going to be a full kind of palette, complexity. So from the front to the end, it's going to be really, really complex.
So, any other questions? I think, are some people looking for asking a question?
So on this barrels, can you talk a bit about the Kwas Theta, the barrel elevation, like the one that you have rum and bourbon in, that you blended back together, and how that like mixing of the barrels works?
So that was probably the first beer that we actually blended. So we made a huge batch. We put it into 7 different kind of barrels. So it was like white wine, red wine, bourbon, rum, port, whiskey, and some weird stuff also. Like those in total around 40 barrels of it. I think it was like 47 or something like this. And at the end, we only took 32 to the blend. So quite a few barrels were just discarded. And like I said, the idea was just to make, when you put the beer into red wine or white wine, it's going to give you a different things. So the blend was first blended beers from Pinta, and the idea was just to give it the most complexity possible.
Oh. Another Nostravia, guys.
Guys, leave it up. Come on. Who's not horny?
Will, what's happening to your eyes? Will, what the hell?
Will, speak to us, Will. Speak to us. You're mute. Nah, nothing. Nah.
Dzień dobry, Mark.
Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Co słychać?
Awesome, good accent.
Oh, thank you. I'm only good at a few words, but when I say them, the accent's okay. So. But Magda is complaining that I don't speak enough Polish, and it's true. It's true. I've been with her.
You don't speak Polish. You don't speak African. It's like it's lazy bastard.
I'm one of these entitled English speakers, that just everyone should speak English, and so actually it's not true. I wish I did learn more languages, but I'm probably also lazy in that regard as well, because it's just also in Denmark. I would love to speak more Danish, and I understand Danish.
I guess it's just being Aussie.
Yeah, it is. These bloody things, right?
Kiwi people were always telling me that Aussies are lazy bastards.
And we said that Kiwis are sheep shaggers, so it's. What does it say?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, hi!
Yeah, after 2.5 hours. Hello.
But this thing about us is, I don't think it's about being lazy. It's a thing about pretending to be busy.
Pretending, is it? Oh, okay. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Probably.
Not the Carlsberg slogan.
What's that?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Reason that I'm doing this in the world, yeah.
Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna get going.
Let's leave it there. Thank you.
Hopefully,
I really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
For guiding us through these awesome beers. What does it say? Thank you. Thank you. He said thank you.
Dziękuję pięknie.
Yeah, dziękuję bardzo.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Well, there's a question.
Thank you.
Is that a question?
No?
Oh.
I think it's Russian. Спокойной ночи и крепкого сна.
Oh, wow. I don't know this one.
Oh.
Supposed to mean good night and well.
Yeah, you can just say da.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the beers. Just tell Mike that they were good, and he will bring more.
Yeah, exactly. Are we getting some? We're getting some more next week or the week after.
I would suggest just wait a week for the new cans and new bottles.
Yeah.
And if you want to, I'm all up for it if you want to do it again. So.
Get another tasting going and get the Harlem one in it, and then I'm definitely in.
The Harlem one's finished. Sorry, man.